Hello, and welcome back to Coin Lady channel. Several days ago, it was reported that Ripple had acquired a firm and a crypto infrastructure firm called Fortress. However, what we didn't realize at the time was that a security compromise had occurred before that. And despite the fact that, from what I've read, perhaps it's just a matter of semantics. If for some reason it is not being called a hack, that's fine with me. The point is that Fortress lied to its clients after a security compromise resulted in the loss of customer monies. And then, after buying the company, Ripple came out and said, no, there were definitely monies that were stolen. And we truly produced a ripple in the market by ripping off those clients. Regardless of the actual amount of money that was taken, which hasn't been made public to my knowledge. This is some pretty out there stuff, but apparently they just handed it up as part of the purchase agreement. Near the end of the film, I also want to share with you a piece from crypto basic law veteran Mark Fagel, in which he explains why the SEC will settle with Ripple before tribal governments. What would happen if this case went to trial? It seems plausible at this stage. Isn't it possible that we'll have to face a witness like Jay Clayton or Billy Boy Hinman? However, I should state up front that I am completely unsupported monetarily. I am not giving out money management tips. Moreover, you know that you shouldn't act on my advice to buy or sell anything. Just a hobbyist here that occasionally posts films to YouTube on various crypto-related topics. CNBC reported on Friday that Ripple had made its second acquisition of 2023, a cryptocurrency infrastructure firm. The other company was called Medico, and it was also acquired. Regarding $250 million in crypto custody services. So, Ripples get a little shaky, and then people start wondering, where are these monies exactly coming from? Some have speculated that Ripple had to sell a lot more XRP to make this happen, but I haven't seen any evidence to support this, and he seems to be shifting his position. How many XRP Ripple has been selling recently? They don't hide the facts about that sort of thing here. But here's the most recent news about the security breach and the missing money at Fortress. CEO sets the record straight. Since acquiring the financial technology firm Fortress 4 days ago, Ripple has had to patch up some customer accounts at the crypto custodian following a security breach 2 weeks ago. Fortress briefly disclosed the breach last Thursday, claiming that all affected accounts had been restored and that no funds had been lost. That's the bit that's up for debate, so keep that in mind, there will be no financial loss. How true is that? This is counter to popular belief, so please verify. Confusion over Fortress's lack of openness, its clients' safety, its partners' involvement, and who was at fault was heightened by contradictory statements from both firms. Upper Fortress Chief Executive Scott Purcell added that concerns were exaggerated. No one managed to hack us. On Tuesday, the co-founder of Firebox and Bitcoin confirmed through email that neither service had been compromised. Fortress provides the necessary infrastructure and services for the safekeeping of billions of dollars in assets for blockchain enterprises. Fireblock, like its competitor BitGo, focuses on providing institutional clients with supervised storage of digital assets. Purcell claims that despite the fact that Fortress and BitGo preferred wallets were used during the event, both firms operated flawlessly. Instead, he holds a big third-party cloud database tool responsible for the hack. We received an email from the tool company admitting responsibility for the hack unusually quickly, within 48 hours. And we are now taking steps to ensure that they answer to our demands. According to Purcell, a Ripple spokesperson assured the cryptocurrency on September 7 that users had been informed of the compromise and compensated before the public disclosure by Fortress. The purchase of the Ripple was also given some background information. That's very much it, but I'm still confused as to how Fortress can claim there was no loss of funds when, obviously, there was, and Ripple can say something like, yeah, we just took that loss. Since Fortress Investment Group was about to acquire the company anyway, we rushed to accommodate its incoming consumers. That they went through with it doesn't shock me at all. The overall amount leaves one wondering, but I haven't seen it mentioned anywhere. Please share your knowledge with me if you do. I guess I just missed it. On the other hand, there was a quote from John Deaton, an attorney, on this. Permit me to stoop. As such, this is a standalone piece. He explained that it cost $200 million in legal bills for Ripple and Garland House to defend themselves after being sued. In addition, Ripple has built a stronghold of optimism for its clientele. Similarly, I had a similar thought about it. I'm pleased he brought that up, because I think a lot of us were thinking the same thing. In total, the legal fees for the SEC v. Ripple lawsuit amounted to almost $200 million. After the security incident, they invested $250 million in Medico, then bought Fortress and forced consumers to put their money there. Many people are thinking, okay, well, this is why XRP's price goes up, as a result of that. For the reason why, recently, it dropped to 46 cents. At the time of this recording, I estimate that XRP is worth around 48 cents. But is there any relevance to this at all? David draws attention to a message by XRP community member and attorney Bill Morgan, and the Crypto Basic article he references has the heading XRP falls below 48 cents amid speculation Ripple sold XRP to fund Fortress buyout. I don't want to believe, as lawyer Morgan stated, that Ripple sold off a lot of XRP to pay for the purchase of Fortress and the subsequent bailout of Fortress's customers, which would have a negative impact on the value of XRP. Today's price drop, though, was shared by the entire cryptocurrency market, so it couldn't be the reason. Yeah. Thus, you have made a perceptive observation. Of course, the entire asset class was acting the way it was acting because the district lord, in a rippling. To make even a momentary dent in the global price of XRP, I have no idea what they did or how much additional fee they would need to sell. However, that is an astronomical sum to pay in this case. So I emailed lawyer Morgan and informed him that at one point, they had $1 billion in the bank. I can't be sure how they paid for the acquisition, but I don't think they sold more XRP than usual. And it appears that attorney Morgan agrees with me. I agree, he wrote. The entire market took a dive. To be fair, Matt, the subject of who takes the hit in the event of a failed purchase or business for Ripple remains an open one. Simon Dixon's declaration that he is simply a Ripple shareholder was appropriate. This is a quote from a Bitcoin Max user, which is what he is alluding to. You know he's a shareholder today, and he'd previously written about how the acquisition of Fortress caused a security hole for those customers. Since I believe that we should always be able to talk openly and honestly to one another about these issues that affect our community, I don't mind the inquiry at all. Even after paying your legal fees, I just don't see you doing it. I seriously doubt that Ripple was strapped for cash even after the Medico acquisition. Also, I don't get why Ripple would rush out and buy a ton of XRP at this time for this purpose. And even if it is them, it will say, I don't care, that's your asset. Do with it as you please. You all know where I stand on so stop asking. If you are the owner of an asset and are considering selling it, just do it. It has absolutely nothing to do with me. That's simply how I feel about it, though. In addition, there is the veterans' law. The only reason the SEC will settle with Ripple before trial is because of Mark Fagel. Mark Fagel, a former SEC official, has provided new information into the ongoing Ripple case and a prospective settlement. The SEC may reach a settlement with Ripple before the trial begins, according to rumors. Some XRP backers have theorized that this rumor mill exists so the SEC can keep its former officials from testifying in the trial. In the second quarter of 2024, the trial will begin in connection with the SEC's complaint against former Ripple executives Garland House and Larson. During a recent talk on X and XRP, former SEC officer and securities litigation expert Mark Fagel offered some interesting new perspective on the Ripple lawsuit and the possibility of a settlement. A fan wanted him to weigh in on whether or if the SEC will reach a settlement with Ripple before the trial begins. In response, Fagel mentioned a potential incentive for the SEC to settle with Ripple before the trial. The federal government has stated that if the claims against Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larsen are deemed high risks, then the SEC will settle with Ripple prior to trial. A member of the XRP community recently asked me whether or not I think that the SEC is interested in a deal before the trial starts to avoid Hinman and Clayton to testify. And this is what lawyer Fagel had to say. I believe the remaining claims against the people are high risk, which is why the SEC is interested in settlement. While I don't necessarily agree with attorney FG on everything, I do believe that he is an intellectually honest guy, and I don't think that testimony from former SEC employees is a large component in that. And in this respect, you may very well be correct. You know, if you're the SEC and you're settling, you have to know that you tremendously overcharged and that this is a gigantic strategic misstep, naming breakers, so they thought that they, would benefit them because they're just being bullies and putting extra pressure on, but then a bunch of other stuff came to light and the SEC replicates all the pre-trial stuff that obliterated their case. The question is whether or not the SEC believes they succeeded on these fronts. Similar to Brad and Chris, they were truly careless. That probably won't work out well for them. And so as far as them to considering, Jay Clayton and Bill Hinman, I would actually come up if even if they actually were to testify this in any capacity this case I don't think I can be wrong, but I suspect the current leadership at the SEC just won't give a damn, especially that for Jake Lynn they're not buddy-buddy, they're there they don't care. That's what I think at least in this case. This scenario is plausible, and if it plays out, the SEC will have reached a decisive point in their war against the cryptocurrency industry. Things are looking up now. And while I recognize that the war has not yet been won, I am confident that it will be. I've been saying this the whole time, the tide is turning, but we're on the right side of history. Also, the SEC can see that the courts and judges aren't going to allow them get away with what they've been trying to pull. So maybe they do, and maybe the lawsuit will be resolved. I'm not sure if we should consider it likely. However, if they do, I can see why they would. Since I'm not a certified financial planner, you shouldn't take any of my advice on whether or not to make a purchase. Please like and subscribe my channel. See you later, bye.